Hello, everybody. Welcome back to I'll Read What She's Reading. I'm Peyton Gray.
I'm Evangeline.
And I'm Mustang.
And today is our long-awaited, most anticipated episode of the year, our Halloween episode. If you didn't see our Halloween episode last year, go find it, especially go watch it on our YouTube, because right now we are, as we just said, different characters. We are not ourselves right now.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been having such a fun day getting dressed up. Lots of TikTok and vlog content coming your way. And it's been really fun. So I think you guys look great.
So do you.
We all look great.
Yeah, we all look fantastic.
Michaela's looking like
A
she just stepped out of a storybook.
Yeah.
Kennedy's ready to go fight a battle.
Yeah, she is.
So I'm ready to kiss Kai.
Ooh.
I would do that too.
Yeah.
We're going to be sharing, this is very different from previous episodes, but if there's one thing that this podcast we do is we read stories in books, but this time we're going to read your stories about your spooky experiences. So we're going to just jump right into them unless you guys have any new experiences that have happened to you, because in our last episode last year, we did the same thing and we each shared a spooky experience we've had. So we won't repeat those. But do you guys have anything spooky that's happened to you?
No,
I haven't either.
Yeah.
no.
Mm-mm.
I can't think of anything. I feel like I spilled all of them in last year's episode.
Yeah. So go listen to that episode if you're wanting to hear some spooky things that have happened to us. I'm trying to remember your guys.
I don't think I shared one.
I saw a ghost. I've seen one. So
Go listen to last year's episode
Yeah.
to hear about it.
Ooh, spooky.
all right, let's have Kennedy start us off with the first story that was submitted.
Here's our first story. I want to preface this by saying I have never had anything spooky happen to me since this incident, and I still can't explain what happened. Back in 2016, I was at my boyfriend at the time's house. He was at work, but I was close with his family and would go over just to hang with his sister. This particular night, I went over so we could watch the new season of Once Upon a Time. It was a season with Frozen, and we were excited. Anyway, her and I were downstairs, and her mom left to go to the store, and her little brother was upstairs. Again, my ex was at work at the time. So her and I are watching the show, and it's probably around 9 or 10 p.m. when we start to hear her little brother running around upstairs. He was so loud that we even paused the show to yell at him from downstairs to stop. When we did, the footsteps stopped but continued for a little bit, but not as aggressive. Kind of like he was just pacing back and forth in his room, which he did a lot. So we continue watching and finish the episode, and eventually the footsteps stop and her mom comes back. And guess who comes walking into the house with her? Her brother. Her and I saw him walk in through the front door and both looked at each other with wide eyes. She asked her brother, Jonathan, you went with mom? And they both replied, yeah, why? I had chills running all over my body. Her and I just stared at each other for a few seconds and couldn't think of what to say. I was so scared I wanted to leave immediately. I ended up calling my ex at work and told him what happened, and he said, well, you know the house is haunted, right? No, sir, I did not know. Good thing he's your ex.
Yeah,
Just kidding.
How does he
chills.
just not share that information with you?
I mean, I don't know. I want to know if they knew that it was haunted prior to buying it. You know what I mean? Because I'm pretty sure when you buy a house, I could be wrong, okay? Maybe Google this to make sure I'm correct. But I think if there's a death in the house, you have to disclose it. Maybe not. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
But creepy nonetheless. Very creepy.
Yeah. That gave me the chills.
Maybe it was a dog. They probably don't have a dog. Who knows?
Well, what's weird is that they told it to stop and then it stopped.
Very nice child ghost.
Or a human.
Oh, yeah, like a
Yeah,
burglary.
either. I'd rather
Oh,
be a
an
ghost.
adult ghost. Yeah.
Or a burglar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather.
Like, pacing
I would
around the
rather
room
it
trying
be
to
a
find
ghost scaring me
something.
than a real person.
I don't know.
Ooh.
Scary.
Very
All right.
scary.
Oh my gosh. So I work in a hospital as a nurse on med-surg, and we have a room on the side we use for holds, patients waiting for beds, that's not open all the time. Anyway, there's a room, 213. spooky as is. And literally you will hear groaning and vocals like it's a nonverbal patient trying to talk. And then when you walk in, the TV will blast on with static and a big pop and flip through commercials. And the bathroom faucet will start going crazy. And everyone who has gone in there has either screamed or ran out, myself included. So we literally do not put anyone in there. And I took a salt packet and threw salt in the door. Okay, the fact that no one...
thing?
Yeah, like people, yeah.
I think it's like something with spirits or something.
Okay,
and
okay,
salt,
okay.
yeah.
What's crazy to me is they don't put anyone in that room, so you know it's like
Is 213 like a spooky number?
I mean, 13? I don't know.
Interesting. Maybe at 213 is like, I don't know. I'm gonna have to look it up.
I mean, hospitals are creepy in and of
Yeah.
themselves.
yeah.
So to have a haunted room,
How old is this hospital? What happened in that room? I have so many questions.
I honestly would
I
probably look
appreciate
for a new
your
job.
story.
Yeah.
Anything
a
Anything with
trooper.
spooky,
I'm out.
I'm
Yeah.
gone.
I am out.
but I did live in a haunted apartment once, and I didn't run out. But I mean, I was 8 years old, but like, I didn't feel that. Anyways, spooked. Okay.
My family swears that the house that we lived in when I was a kid was haunted. I grew up in the middle of Michigan in a pretty rural area. The house that we lived in was right next to the train tracks that would shake the house whenever a train passed, and the layout of the house itself was a little weird. The original house was small and 1 story, but eventually it was expanded to become a 2-story house. For some reason, it felt like they just built around the original layout in a weird way. For example, we had a closet with a stairway that led to nowhere. My sister's closet had a door on the ceiling that led to an empty space, and we could see flowered wallpaper in the vents that our original house was. To add to the already creepy atmosphere, we had a Michigan basement, which is just a crawl space that has been dug out, and it gives murder basement vibes. You'll have to look up pictures to get the full effect. My sister and I have lots of creepy stories from living in this house, ranging from feeling watched to my older sister having sleep paralysis, where she constantly saw the same shadowy figure waving at her from the corner. One experience that I have was when I was home alone one night. I slept on the bottom bunk of a bed, and we had a cat that sometimes would jump on my dresser to the top bunk to sleep. That night when I was trying to sleep, I felt my bed shake. It wasn't a violent shake, but it was enough to jolt me awake. At first I thought it was a train, but I couldn't hear any horns or the sound of a train chugging along. My next thought was that it was a cat who jumped on the bed up to the top. So I climbed about halfway up the ladder and tried to feel for her in the dark. After a moment of blindly feeling around, I was overcome with this immense feeling of dread and the urge to run. It's safe to say that it wasn't my cat up there, and it definitely did not sleep in my room that night. And to this day, I have no idea what caused my bed to shake like that. My parents have since moved out of the house, and last I heard, the new owners remodeled the inside, which makes me wonder if they covered up the old house like what was done previously.
No.
Ooh.
Sleep paralysis is something else.
Have you had sleep paralysis?
No. I've had night
have.
terrors where like
okay, yeah.
I wake up and I'm like still in the nightmare, but like I can move.
Mm-hmm.
Because sleep paralysis, you can't.
Yeah.
Like your body is like completely frozen. But that sounds honestly like the scariest thing ever.
Yeah.
Like not being able to move sounds terrifying.
Like being awake and
Yes.
And then you like see this little guy, this little spirit in the corner just waving at you.
Oh
Absolutely not.
no.
No.
Give me the chills.
And it's like, what do you do? Your parents, you're in this house. You can't leave.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
Go sleep at a friend's house.
Literally. Move. When I was a kid, my mom was a preschool director, and she would always tell me the story of a little girl named Maggie. Immediately no. Just kidding.
Sorry, Maggie.
Several years ago, before she told me the story, near the end of the day, there was only one kid left in the building, so the teacher brought the kid up front with my mom. They were all sitting on the couches at the front of the building, and there was a hall with a bathroom on one end right next to the couches. The boy was staring at the hall, and then the bathroom door shut with no one touching it or being near it. And then the boy appeared to be watching a figure leave the bathroom, but no one was there. And then he said, "Why is there a girl in a red dress? And the back of her head is messed up." My mom and the teacher were so confused and spooked, but the boy's mom came to pick him up and they just forgot about it. 2 years later, my mom worked at the same preschool. During nap time one day, a kid was laying on a cot and staring intensely at the ceiling. The teacher was confused why she wasn't going to sleep, so she walked over to her and asked what was wrong. She pointed to the ceiling and said, "The girl in the red dress won't stop staring at me. And what's wrong with the back of her head?" Mind you, these kids never knew each other, never spoke. My mom named her Maggie and said she haunted the preschool, and she would always use Maggie and those stories to scare me.
Oh,
No.
I'm speechless.
No.
Not preschool.
Mm-hmm.
And like little kids are the ones that you see a lot of that. I don't. Yeah.
No.
I do not like that one.
I don't like that either.
I don't like
I don't like it.
Ooh.
That's why I'm just in
That is
pink.
not the similarity of like the dress and then the head is messed up.
Too big of a coincidence to not be real.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Ugh.
That's very.
I have the chills.
That was very spooky. Okay. I have had a ghost encounter before. We had just moved to Florida and I was home alone because my family went on a trip. I wake up from the first night alone and the front door is wide open, and then I realize that every door in the house is also open. I'm super creeped out and shut and lock everything, and the rest of the day is normal. When I'm getting ready for bed that night, I feel creeped out, so I sleep with a light on. In the middle of the night, I feel something grab my throat and hit my face. I start screaming and get up. My lamp is laying on the floor and my whole room is a disaster, even though it was clean when I went to bed. Safe to say, I stayed the night with a friend the rest of the week and we moved out of the house 2 years later.
What'd you do for 2 years?
That's terrifying. So I have so many questions.
Yeah.
Because she slept with the light on, but she felt someone grab her neck. Did she not? Yeah, but did she not see anything?
Must not have.
That's spooky.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to think logistically. I'm like,
I know.
was
There's
it a
always so many
ghost?
questions.
Was it like an actual person?
I'm assuming it was a ghost.
Maybe. Like a spirit?
Mm-hmm.
So did you move out? All the questions. Did
Can
you move
you-
out 2 years later because of something else, or was it because the house was haunted? I'm guessing if you had more stories, you would have shared them. But still, whether ghost or not a ghost, insanely freaky.
So freaky.
If you
Did you
submit
have
this
a mark on your
story,
face?
I would love
Message
to
us.
to hear more.
Yeah, please expand.
Yes.
Because that's wild and freaky.
I'm scared for you.
My name is Hannah. I'm from Ireland.
So cool.
And when I was around 10 years old, I went on a family holiday. That's so funny where they say family
I
holiday.
like that way better.
I know.
It's cute.
It is cute. Where we stayed in a small cottage. Adorable. One night I got out of bed to go to the bathroom, and when I was walking back to my room, I walked past the top of the stairs. When I looked down, I saw a large dark figure walking into the living room. I freaked out and ran to my bedroom, where I obviously hid under the covers. The next morning, when my parents went downstairs, there was a smashed hole in the window.
What?
The weirdest thing was the broken glass was on the outside of the house, like someone had broken it from the inside.
Ooh.
Okay, I just got chills.
Oh.
So like no one.
I'm
No one
still
heard it?
scared of the dark, you guys. Whenever I turn off the lights in my house, I run into my bedroom.
I actually do that.
Justified.
sometimes, too.
When you're home alone, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, even when my husband's home.
That is
I'm a scaredy
spooky.
cat, so
That is very spooky.
See, but also I wonder how old she. What did she say? How old she was?
10.
10. Because like I would be like, I guess it's kind of hard to know what you do when you're little, but I feel like I wouldn't be able to fall asleep without someone else knowing.
I'd be-
parents.
I would be running into my parents' bedroom even at 28.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be like, Mom, Dad, help me.
Yeah.
You're
That's spooky.
Oh, that's terrifying that the broken window was.
The
Yeah.
call is coming from
Yeah.
the inside of the house.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Maybe, I don't know. But I wonder why. Could they not walked out the door?
I mean, I feel like most of the time, like, spirits are stuck where, you know what I mean? They're stuck.
Mm,
They can't get out.
but what if it was like an actual person? My
But
mind
it's just
goes
a
to actual
hole.
people.
But it wasn't a
Maybe
hole
they-
like someone couldn't have walked through it. It was just like a hole. It wasn't like a,
interesting.
you know what I mean? So someone didn't get out.
I'm a little logistic thinker.
Yeah, no, same.
I need to
She's
know.
a curious cat.
I am. Okay.
All right. As a kid, I always locked the car door anytime my parents left my little brothers and I behind to run a quick errand. Smart.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It sometimes annoyed my parents because I would even lock the doors when they left for just a second into the gas station or back inside the house to grab something real quick. I think I did it because I was a big sister and I wanted to go the extra mile in keeping my little siblings safe, and I'm so glad that I did. Foreshadowing. One day my parents left me behind with my 3 little brothers while they ran inside Home Depot for a quick part. It should have been a fairly brief errand, but they had run into a friend who actually collapsed mid-conversation due to a seizure. Oh.
Okay.
While the whole parking lot was distracted with the drama of the paramedics coming to pick up my parents' friend, my siblings and I were still alone in the car, unsure of what was happening. At this time, I didn't have a phone. I was too young. As I sat with my little brothers facing away from my car window, I watched as one little brother's face went eerily white at the sight of something behind me. Absolutely not. Without any exchange of words, I slowly turned in my seat to see a man with long, ratty, gray hair falling down his shoulders, stained attire, and a crooked, dirty smile with missing teeth staring at me, forehead pressed into the glass of my window, and a hungry smile splitting open his face. The imagery. Keeping my cool, I smiled back and waved, double checking to make sure that I had done my due diligence in locking the car door. To my relief, I had. The stranger's smile grew into a grotesque sneer as he pointed at my door and mouthed, "Open the door." No.
Oh,
No.
I'm so spooked.
Being the intelligent and quick-witted 12-year-old that I was, I put my hand to my ear, shaking my head and mouthing back, "I'm sorry, I can't hear you." Then I turned away. My little brother, who had noted the appearance of the man first, was silently crying, tears quietly dripping off his red-flushed cheeks. It was truly interesting that nothing had quite happened, but just by one small interaction, us kids could feel the wrongness in this stranger, the danger in the situation. I tried to distract the boys by smiling, telling stories, trying to laugh over the sound of my door handle being tried over and over again.
Oh my gosh, I would run the car over him.
Once the handle stopped moving, I would ask my brother every few minutes, "Is he still there?" And my sweet little brother, still quietly crying, would nod and say, "He's just watching you." After almost 45 minutes of this, he finally gave up and my parents came back to the
5
car
minutes?
about a half hour after that. I was proud to tell my parents, "I told you so." They no longer gave me crap for locking the car doors.
I will always be more scared of a human person than a ghost.
Yeah.
It's giving me like Smile vibes.
Yes. I know, because I
Open
keep
the
seeing
door?
a bunch of like smile TikToks, and that's exactly where my mind went to.
Could they not? They didn't have keys?
I
Could they-
envisioned
would've-
that entire thing.
Or I would have been like,
perfectly.
yeah, that was beautiful.
Yeah,
Well,
that was
not beautiful
great.
imagery, but like beautiful, very descriptive in a
Yeah.
really creative, wonderful way. Scary. I would probably start honking the horn. Like, not saying you handled that very well,
100%.
but I'm like, my first thought is like, I would be like,
Yeah, like turn.
getting attention to
the-
myself.
Yeah.
Oh, your
That
poor
is
little
terrifying.
brother.
Terrifying.
No.
Lock your car doors, people.
Yeah.
45 minutes.
Well, he was there for 45 minutes and then their parents didn't come out until 30 minutes after that.
But the thing is, I'm not trying to bash on the parents at all. Why aren't you checking on your kid?
Yeah.
I mean,
because they were like 12.
That's true. That's true. Now it makes me want to give my children cell phones earlier.
Oh yeah.
Like the little Gab phone, Gab watch.
Yeah. Gab watch.
Gab watch.
My child's 3, and I'm already like,
Give her a Gab watch.
she needs a device. I always know where she is.
That was creepy.
AirTag.
Oh.
That was creepy.
Whew.
Mm.
Yeah, that spooked me the most so far. Okay.
Had to do with children.
When I was 12, my mom and two sisters moved into a small little house that was for rent. The owner had died from, I think, alcohol poisoning because he had drank himself to death. His daughter had rented the house to us because #single parent. The house was split into 2 floors, and mine and my sister's rooms were downstairs, and my mom's was upstairs. We could hear typical footsteps on the tile floors, cabinets opening and slamming shut, and being 12 years old, I was freaked out. It got to the point where my one sister and I would sleep in my mom's bed with her. One night, I was out with my mom somewhere, and my older sister stayed home with her friend. My mom had gotten a call from my sister, and she was hysterically crying. She had called the police because she had seen a man's face peeking in our living room window. The police never found anyone, and I'm convinced it was the dead owner. We moved out of the house shortly after that. As you should.
No.
See, whether it was the previous owner,
A ghost?
or a real person, terrifying nonetheless.
Do you guys believe in ghosts?
Yes, I've seen one.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. I believe in ghosts too.
I've been ghost hunting.
Our nail girl who does our nails frequently goes ghost hunting with her in-law. And she was telling me stories while she was doing her nails. And I was like, you do that for fun? That doesn't sound fun.
It's not fun. It's quite terrifying.
I don't like
if I say so myself.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Okay.
No for me.
This happened to me when I was a baby. This is something my parents told me. My house is a large house that was connected with my aunt's place. My parents had gone out on a date and left me with the nanny. When they got back and asked how the nanny how I behaved or if there was any troubles, the girl had told them that everything was okay, but the room besides mine was making lots of noise and knocking, waking me up a few times. She told my dad that if it were possible to talk to my aunt about it and tell her if she could keep it down or something because I was waking up and giggling, and it was hard to put me back to sleep. My dad said of course. The nanny left. My dad told my mom about the incident and they were left confused about it. Why? Because my aunt was dead and there was no one else living in that area of the house, and there was no sign of someone breaking in.
Ooh. Wow. Yeah. I mean, it was probably nice ghost aunt, you know? She's probably just wanting to play with you. Have a good time.
Yeah.
We'll go with that.
Yeah.
We'll go with that.
Poor babysitter, though. I guess maybe she never knew.
That's why I actually don't babysit.
Maybe I said this in the last Halloween episode. I babysat once, and the parents failed to mention to me that someone was coming by the house to pick up something out of their garage.
Oh my gosh.
So I heard someone in the garage.
Reggie's ready to throw hands for these kids.
And it was like after the kids had gone to bed. And I was like sitting on the couch. I had like fallen asleep, and I heard like, at first I thought, oh, the parents are home. And I just heard these like footsteps and like rummaging in the garage. And I looked at the time. I'm like, they're not supposed to be home for like another hour. And that's
it's like literally that one movie where the babysitter's there and she's calling the cops and they're like, the call is coming from inside the house. What's that?
When a stranger calls.
Yeah. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, I hate that one.
I don't like. I will babysit during the day. At night, no.
It ain't for Michaela.
No, it's not for me. It's not it. The night is spooky to me.
Okay. My father-in-law gave us a piece of Native American pottery from Arizona. When he left, I told my husband how ugly it was and told him to put it in the garage. Weird things started to happen. A few days after the pottery went to the garage, I heard banging coming from our guest room. Checked it out, nothing there. Went about my day and heard banging again. Checked the room again, still nothing there. Heard banging coming from another area of the house, nothing there when I checked there either. This banging went on for days and I started to get weirded out. Checked the attic, wasn't an animal or anything. Checked the entire house every time we heard it and found nothing. A few more days pass by and I'm home alone with my toddler and feel a breath on the back of my neck while standing in the kitchen.
No.
It felt like someone was holding a breath and let it out on my neck. I had a horrible feeling and got chills all over. I called my husband and he thought I was being paranoid. That is such a husband thing to say.
Yeah, it is.
The banging continued and then I started hearing a whistling sound coming from my guest room. Almost like someone was outside the window whistling. I was getting really scared at this point. A couple days after this, the pottery had been in the home for about a week and a half at this point, and I'm sitting on the floor in our living room and I see a 6-7 foot dark figure cross our hallway doorway, moving from my guest room to my toddler's room. It scared me so bad that I grabbed my toddler and diaper bag and ran out of the house to my car. Braless and shoeless, I left the garage open and peeled out of our driveway. I called my husband and he came home, and my father-in-law swept the entire house checking for someone or anything out of the ordinary. I didn't want to come back to the house, and I felt so unsafe. I ended up coming back but kept the lights on all day and night, and I refused to go near or look at the hallway. After researching and talking to friends, they said that maybe the house needed to be cleansed, so we tried that. Banging continued. Finally, I stumbled across a Reddit thread about objects with spirits attached. I didn't believe in any of this until this incident, and they recommended apologizing to the pottery because when it was brought into my home, I insulted it and put it in the garage. I apologized to the pottery, and everything that had happened stopped and didn't happen again. Could be coincidental, but I know what I heard and felt and saw, and apologizing to the pottery seemed to fix it. The pottery sits on a shelf in our garage to this day, over 3 years later, and I'm afraid to get rid of it or even look at it, so we have not touched it out of fear of stirring up trouble again. Yo, I'd be mad at my father-in-law.
Yeah, I'd be like, get rid of this thing.
Where did he get it?
Low-key, that's why I don't like thrifting things.
Oh, really? Because you never know. I guess that's true.
Ooh, I've never thought of that.
I mean, I know a lot of people like thrifting, but I feel like there's just, just bad omens with things. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I have a hard time with.
I've never thought of that.
Me neither, until this moment.
I'm so sorry.
Now I will.
Just delete
Remember
that
how
from
you
your
want to
brain.
go thrift shopping? Ooh.
No, don't let that take away your happiness
Of thrifting.
Yeah.
Hi. First, I love the pod so much. You guys have pulled me out of a 2-year-long reading slump. You're welcome. I love that for you. A couple years ago, I used to live in a really, really old house, and it was surrounded by basically a forest, and there was a cemetery down the street. Okay. Often, the house alarm would go off detecting movement from the front door, but after checking the cameras, there was no one there. It was a 2-story house, but the bottom floor was ground level, so it was basically our basement/storage. There were 2 rooms and 1 bathroom down there, and during the night, my boyfriend and I would hear the toilet flushing downstairs and doors slamming. We had cameras down there, and every time that happened, the cameras showed nothing. There were more small instances like that, but my boyfriend and I just chose to suck it up and deal with it. We hated living there because of those small experiences, and the house gave such bad energy. The final straw was when I was home alone and with my dog and 2 cats. I was in the kitchen, and I swear I heard someone whisper in my ear, "Come here." I instantly turned around and saw nothing. The next moment, I heard my dog running to me and barking at an empty corner in the kitchen. My cats ran from their little cat tree with their tails puffed up and ears back. I ran to the bedroom, called my boyfriend, and told him we were breaking the lease. We moved out a month later. I didn't believe in ghosts and stuff like that until moving into that house, and I realized why the rent was so cheap. LOL. Now I'm living in a place ghost free. I have something, I'm just saying, apartments by the cemetery. It's a big no. That's
I lived on campus by the cemetery in Logan.
Oh, the infamous cemetery with the ghosts.
eyes glow.
I walked through it a lot, actually, to walk to campus.
I went on a date where we went ghost hunting at the Logan Cemetery once.
I feel like I just had to pretend that it didn't exist, to be honest.
Mind over matter. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My childhood home was very haunted. There were a lot of creepy things that had happened in the house. One particular situation that comes to mind very frequently, I was in my parents' room across the hall from my bedroom, curling my hair in a full-length mirror. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw someone go down the hallway into my room. But then I remembered I was home alone, and I froze in fear. When I got the nerve to check it out, my door was cracked enough to see a taller, older man standing in the middle of my room wearing a trench coat.
What?
I pushed the door open all the way and he disappeared. A few days later, I was talking with my neighbor and she said an old man and his wife lived in my home well before my family moved in. His name was Greg, and before his wife had died, she was on hospice. The room she was set up in was my bedroom. Greg died shortly after her in that house. She said he was known for wearing a brown trench coat. I didn't see much of Greg after that until my now best friend Ruby and I met, and she would come over. Anytime she was over, we would see him dart down the hall or see his legs under the freezer door when we opened it. Sometimes when we would leave my house, we would see him standing in the windows. Years later, after I moved out of the house, but my family stayed, I found out Greg's wife was named Ruby.
Oh my gosh. Okay, like very creepy, but also kind of sort of sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, Kennedy. What are you saying? I mean, it is kind of sweet, but
Still creepy.
yeah. If they're both dead, just be together,
Yeah.
You don't need to go back to the house,
Yeah.
Whew, that gave me
Mhm.
chills.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very spooky.
Hi, I love you guys so very much. We love you too.
Mhm.
But I'll get into it. My great-grandfather was a murderer. Boom, boom, boom.
What a great way to start off the story.
My mom grew up never knowing who her grandfather was, and her parents refused to tell her anything about him. After her dad, my grandfather, passed, she reached out to a historian to find out. The historian told her her great-grandfather was Joe Sam Walker. In 1948, Joe Sam Walker was accused and convicted of murdering Teresa Foster, an engineering student at the University of Colorado. This case was huge at the time, as Teresa's death marked the first homicide of a University of Colorado student in their 72-year history, and the first murder in Boulder in 9 years. And guess who had rightfully turned him in? My great-grandmother. What? He had been arrested before, and she noticed he was acting incredibly weird. He came home the night of the murder covered in blood because of a fight, and her gut told her to call the police. What a badass bitch.
I like it.
He eventually admitted to giving Teresa a ride that night in his car, but claimed someone else murdered her. Flash forward through a long and controversial trial, and my great-grandfather was convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to 80 years in prison. After serving 20 years, he was released because of excessive pretrial publicity. My grandfather cut ties with his father and changed his last name, and in 1982, my great-grandfather took his own life. That is quite the history.
Wow. I want to go look this up.
Oh my gosh.
Do some research. That's
What?
crazy.
Wow. What a story you
What
have.
a story. That is like, when people say two truths and a
Yeah,
lie,
I was just gonna
that's
say.
one that you include. Oh,
That's crazy.
wow. That's wild.
My husband and I went on our honeymoon to Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and we were staying in this super cute motel, and we had been there for a few days, and I got food poisoning from a place we ate at. So there I am, spewing from both ends after only a few days of being married. It was horrible. LOL. Anyway, I was on the tail end of the sickness, but spending a lot of time in the bathroom of our hotel, and my husband was watching TV while sitting on the bed. I was just sitting on the toilet, and the door handle started jiggling violently, and I opened the door to see a quick flash of a naked figure running away toward the bed area, and I was laughing because I thought it was my husband just being funny and trying to tell me to hurry up, please, because he wanted to, ... So I finished my business, but it takes me a few minutes, and I go out, and he's fully dressed and watching TV. I just laughed and sat next to him and watched TV with him. I don't know why I didn't say anything or ask him about it. That night, I was just peeing quick before bed, and he was laying down and was almost asleep, and it happened again to me. The doorknob jiggled violently, and I opened it to see a naked figure running away, and I yelled, "What are you doing, you crazy?" And I laughed. I finished, went out to confront him this time to find that he was fully dressed under the covers and asleep. I woke him up and I asked him why he had done this to me twice now, and how he got dressed so fast, and he looked scared because he said it wasn't him. I started to get scared too. We watched a bit of TV to help us not be scared, and we fell asleep. In the middle of the night, my husband was shaking me to wake me up, and he was very scared, saying he just felt something grab his ankles and pull while he was sleeping. Oh, I got the chills.
No.
We were so scared, and we decided to say a quick prayer that we would be safe, and we checked out that morning, 3 days sooner than we planned. It was such a scary experience and gives me the goosebumps when I think about it. We asked the hotel if they had ever had anyone report any experiences like that, and they said no. I don't know if they were telling the truth or not, but I won't ever go back there again. Okay, a naked ghost?
Which hotel in Jackson Hole? So I never stay there.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Not the naked ghost.
Why is the ghost naked? Why does it only bother you when you're going to the bathroom?
That's traumatizing. You're just trying to go to the bathroom in peace. Also, the yanking, like,
Okay, here's my question. It's like you saw it, like a naked person run away. How did you not know it was not your husband in a way? Though? Like, does the ghost look like your husband?
He's fast.
Like, I don't know.
Maybe she just saw
Maybe
cheeks.
the ghost. Yeah, maybe.
Just some cheeks.
I don't know. That's a very interesting story, and I'm so sorry that happened to you. But what a memorable honeymoon.
True.
Food poisoning,
And a
naked ghost.
Naked ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure you weren't just like delusional? Maybe a little bit like dehydrated.
But her husband woke her up.
That's
True. Her husband felt someone pull on the ankle.
I was making fun.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to dismiss your naked ghost story.
You know, we can sit here and laugh about it, but imagine if that was you sitting on the toilet going pee and seeing a naked ghost. I'd be freaking out.
I would too.
I'd be
Same.
freaking out.
Same.
I got a
don't
spooky story
know.
for you guys.
All right, let's hear it.
No.
So, here's my spooky story.
Are you making it up or is this real?
it's a story, okay?
Okay.
So, when I was about 19 years old, I
I'm so confused.
I got a job as a nanny, and the child that I was nannying started drawing these really scary pictures. And I couldn't say anything to the parents about it because nobody believed me. And so I started doing my own investigation.
Wait, but you were a recovering drug addict, right?
If you guys
Sorry.
didn't read our book club book for October, that is the plot for Hidden Pictures.
Yes.
So
Go read it.
Sorry,
If you want to
Kennedy's
start.
not really.
Reggie, you can cut that out.
Well, let's say, no, I think that's great. What, have you guys read any spooky books for October? I mean, the only one I read is Hidden Pictures. I did start the first 2 chapters of Phantasma, but I decided to read a different book instead.
Nope, I haven't read any spooky books, unfortunately.
No. I feel
You
like
both read Phantasma though, but was
Mhm.
that like,
I wouldn't say it was
Scary?
spooky, but I would say it's a good
Oh.
October read.
yeah.
Okay.
I'd say it's very gory.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's pretty gory.
It's a pretty gory book. I mean, I haven't read any like horror books.
Me either.
Sounds like a no
Well,
for me.
I tried.
Oh,
Didn't work out for me.
Yeah, you
What
didn't
book?
finish it.
Tender as a Flesh.
Oh.
I guess I did read Bunny, and I think Bunny is classified as horror. Really weird book. But it was a trip, you know?
What's the scariest book you guys have read?
Those stupid books from like when you're in like
Goosebumps? The Goosebumps?
no, like the
Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark?
yes,
Yeah.
those
Yeah,
are probably
those are
like the
scary.
scariest. The one that sticks out to me the most is about the girl with the ribbon. Have you guys heard that one?
The one around her neck?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
Just to kind of give you a. Have you heard that one?
I don't know.
A little.
Tell it to
This
me.
is a little. This is from a book. You know, I don't know why they let children read this because it's quite terrifying. This is kind of like a summarized thing. Obviously, it's not going to be as good as actually reading the thing. There's this girl that she always has like a ribbon around her neck.
Okay.
And then there's this boy that really likes her, but he's curious about this ribbon on her neck. And he like asks her about it, and she kind of just like, you know, I just like a ribbon around my neck. I don't know how it happens, but she finally takes the ribbon off her neck and her head falls off.
Oh.
So
And
like
that is
the,
a childhood tale.
the ribbon was holding her head together with
What
her
a
body.
strong ribbon.
Yeah. So I think she was like swinging on the swings. I don't remember. I'm just like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's terrifying,
That's
huh?
terrifying. Anything that involves children is so, and spookiness. There's nothing scarier.
Mm-mm.
Well, okay. Let me ask this because I feel like maybe we have watched more scary movies than like
Read books.
books.
Mm-hmm.
What is the scariest movie you guys have watched?
Honestly, anything that's like real life that
Like
could
based
really
on the
happen.
True story or like
The Call. Have you guys heard of The Call?
That was the ringtone.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, that movie I think really scared me the most because it's something that could actually happen.
What is that one about?
It's about a girl who gets kidnapped and
Okay.
she is on hold, like online with she has her cell phone and she's talking to the 911 operator,
Mm.
and then the 911 operator's trying to like
Helper.
Oh,
And
that is not the same movie I was talking about. So,
That one's kind of like a more recent one. Like, is she in the car? And like the
Jake
drunk?
Gyllenhaal?
When I was in
No, that's a different one.
that's a different. Yeah, this one's with Halle Berry.
Oh, yeah.
I watched it in high school, and it really freaked me out because like anything with like ghosts or being possessed or anything like that is, you know, a little more not likely, or you know what I mean? Not I do believe in ghosts, but like when do you hear a lot of actual stories of people you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
When I know it's something that's pretty far-fetched, that I'm like, like it doesn't scare me as much. But when it's something that I'm like, oh, this could actually happen to me, I'm checked out. That scares me the most.
Mm-hmm. See, I feel like I'm the opposite. I feel like the ones about like demons and ghosts are what freaks me out more.
Mm-hmm.
Those freak me out.
Which one? So, what is the scariest movie you've seen?
I mean, I haven't watched a lot of recent scary movies. My husband is not into them at all, rightfully so. I grew up watching a lot of scary movies. Like, that's what we did as a family.
You're kidding.
No, I was literally like 10, 11, 12 years old watching all of the Saw movies, watching like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's what we would watch. Yeah.
And did it scare you?
Absolutely.
Why would you watch them?
It was like my dad and my stepmom and all my step siblings would be, you know, watching the movie together. So I would join in because, you know, I wanted to be cool. Terrified. Anyway, the most recent one I can think of as like somewhat of an adult is, I think I told Michaela this the other day. As Above, So Below. They go down in these catacombs in Paris, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're basically like traveling into the depths of hell.
Mm-hmm.
I was like plugging my ears,
Yeah, that one's terrifying.
closing my eyes. Yeah, that freaked me out.
For mine, just to, you know, wrap the spooky story up, I think the scariest ones are like The Conjuring or Annabelle. And
Not the doll one?
yes, and I think the reason being is because there's actually an Annabelle doll, and there is, you know, like The Conjuring and stuff like that is based off an actual couple that would go and like help people like get rid of bad spirits and stuff. So yeah, there's an actual house where they keep all of the artifacts, and they go in and like bless it. Have you guys not seen like those influencers that like go and spend a night in the house?
No.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
See, my dad and my uncle, I was just talking to them, and they were talking about how they would like pay money to go stay in a bunch of these. I was just in like Colonial Williamsburg area in Virginia, and my uncle was telling us a bunch of ghost stories, and I was like, or my husband asked my uncle, he's like, what would someone have to pay you to stay in one of these places? And he's like, oh, I would pay to stay at one of these places. Like, my dad and my uncle love stuff like that. And after the stories he told me, I was like, why would you want to do that?
I wouldn't.
I
wouldn't.
But for him, it's like all about the history. It's like, oh, that's just cool. I'd love to see a colonial soldier ghost or something. No.
That's
Couldn't be
crazy.
me. Also, thanks so much for listening, you guys. We hope you enjoyed. Maybe I'll just use this iPhone video
For the last
part of the YouTube video because your camera died. We really appreciate you guys listening to the podcast, supporting us, submitting your stories. We are just really, really grateful for you guys, and we hope you enjoyed it. There's going to be a vlog. If it hasn't already been posted, there will be one coming of our adventures today. And also, we're going to end this by saying that we have new merch coming very soon. Like very, very soon. So be on the lookout for that in case we haven't posted any sneak peeks of that yet. But we're really excited for you guys to see it, wear it, and we hope you have a very spooky or not so spooky
And safe
Halloween. Yes.
Yeah.
I hope it's filled with a nice, good book and lots of candy. That sounds like the perfect Halloween to me.
Yeah.
Anyways, us signing off. Happy Halloween.
Bye.